Welcome back. House Speaker Mike Johnson unveiling plans to link the SAVE Act to a continuing resolution. The CR, of course, to avoid a partial government shutdown at the end of this month. He did so during a lawmaker-only phone call yesterday. I've reported this many times in the last few weeks that Johnson wants to attach the SAVE Act to the CR. The vote on this measure could likely come next week when lawmakers return from their August recess. If passed, the SAVE Act would prevent non-citizens from voting to try to secure this upcoming election. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, however, is refusing to bring it to the floor. He told Fox News Digital this statement: "As we have said each time we have had a CR, the only way to get things done is in a bipartisan way." No comment on the SAVE Act. Joining me now is Texas Congressman August Pfluger, a member of the House Homeland Security and Energy and Commerce Committees. Congressman, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for being here.
Maria, thanks for having me and talking about these important issues.
What are you expecting on this SAVE Act, and do you believe that this is a bipartisan situation? I mean, Chuck Schumer has yet to bring it to the floor, but he said that the only way to get things done is through a bipartisan way.
Well, he can't have it both ways. He obviously has stopped many bills in the Senate. He has absolutely abdicated his responsibility. But let's just talk about the most fundamental thing in our elections, which is having citizens vote. There are still 15 states in the United States who do not require an ID to go register and to vote. There are 15 states who don't require you to prove that you're a citizen. The SAVE Act is fundamental, and I think it is bipartisan. When I put legislation on the floor earlier this summer to stop non-citizens from voting in D.C., yes, that's illegal immigrants, but it's also foreign agents. Guess what, Maria? We had 52 Democrats vote yes on that legislation. So I think it is bipartisan. I think Americans want to know that their election is secured. I'm getting tons of positive feedback, not only from my district, but from all over Texas and all over the country on the SAVE Act, because it is fundamental. We want to know that our election is secure. And it's just, we've got to elevate the role of citizen in this country. That to vote, you get one vote, you don't get two, you don't get zero. But as a citizen, it's important to know that your vote counts. And when you think that illegal aliens or foreign agents are voting, that really diminishes our voting system.
Well, I understand that, but I just want to clear something up here, because you said you've got non-citizens voting in Washington. Now, are you talking about local elections? That's legal, right? That's lawful to have some non-citizens vote in local elections. What I'm trying to understand is how many and whether or not you have evidence of illegals in this country getting registered to vote in the upcoming presidential election. That's what I want to know.
Yes, there are many cities across the United States who have moved to allow non-citizens to vote in their local elections. But I think our question is, how do you prevent them from voting in the federal election? And we want to know that that's secure. Just in Texas, in the last couple of weeks, we've removed over 1 million people from the voter rolls who are either deceased, non-citizens, or otherwise. So I think it goes hand in hand. And our point is that to register to vote, you need to be a citizen. You have to provide that documentation as well as a photo ID. This is a very basic thing in the country. We want to know that they're secure. You're right to say that some cities, including Washington, D.C., have voted to allow non-citizens to do local elections, but how are they protecting to make sure that that doesn't bleed over into the federal elections?
Right. And I have to point out that Merrick Garland has been very clear and adamant that he will vow to stop voter ID in elections. He does not want anybody to have voter ID in any election. Why? I don't know. What do you think the reason is?
Well, this is the same person who won't move to prosecute some of the most heinous crimes in our country, who won't appoint a special counsel to look at the Hunter Biden situation, the Biden crime family. So I'm not sure that we can trust Merrick Garland on any of the issues related to justice. All
right. The Attorney General of America. All right. I want to get your take on the policy of wide open border. We are told now that the very violent Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua, which we've been talking about running around New York City, robbing people, now the gang has moved into northern Texas, we understand, according to the Dallas Police Department. We're also learning that a Haitian migrant arrested in Massachusetts after allegedly molesting a 10-year-old boy entered the country last year through the Biden-Harris administration's controversial migrant flight program. They're flying illegals into various parts of the country. Fox News' senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy grilled the Biden-Harris administration yesterday on the New York Post report that migrants are flooding New York City's justice system. 75% of the arrests are illegal migrants. Watch this.
Vice President Harris once said years ago that she wanted to decriminalize illegal border crossing. Now she's saying that her values haven't changed. And so how much ownership does she have for this latest NYPD stat that 75% of arrests in Midtown Manhattan lately have been migrant?
Her values haven't changed, and you heard that on the interview that she did with CNN very recently, and I think that's important. I think someone's values matter, and that's what you see from the vice president. This administration, including Harris, because this is the Biden-Harris administration, believe that anyone found guilty of crimes should be held accountable.
Well, there you go, Congressman. That's her answer. What is your response in terms of the Tren de Aragua gang in Texas?
Well, there's an old saying that says, show me where somebody spends their time and money, and I'll show you what they value. It's been 1,246 days since I personally invited the Vice President, Harris, the border czar, to my district to see the destruction that she has caused through the open border situation. To know that we have Tren de Aragua, to know that we have other criminal gangs, 350 plus people who match the terror watch list inside this country, I think it shows you everything you need to know. They don't care about a secure country. They've let the worst of the worst in, tens of thousands of people. How many more of these tragic events is it going to take? I mean, we've got Lake and Riley, Rachel Marin, the Tambunga family from my own district. These are tragic stories, and now we have this violent gang, this Venezuelan gang operating in North Texas. How many more of these tragic events is it going to take to wake our country up? Just go to Aurora, and you can see that they're also operating there. If you're in Colorado, which, by the way, does not require an ID to vote, you might want to think about who you're voting for, because this is absolutely essential to secure our country. I
mean, it's just incredible that we've got dangerous gangs from Venezuela in America right now, creating this chaos and upset, at the least, at the worst, murder. I mean, you're an elected official. Can you do anything about it?
Maria, for 4 years, we've been screaming at the top of our lungs. We have passed legislation. We have tried to impeach Secretary Mayorkas. In fact, we did. We took it to the Senate, and Chuck Schumer once again refused to take that case up. The American public has to decide. And in November, we have to make a decision to make a change to secure our country and get back to law and order.
All right, let me move on to energy policy, because, of course, your district is the best district in terms of America's energy capacity. President Biden is going to visit Wisconsin later today to announce a $7.3 billion program in clean energy investments for rural America, funded by the Inflation Reduction Act, he claims. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, meanwhile, will be in Raleigh, North Carolina, to tout the impact of the Inflation Reduction Act and how it's allegedly helping to lower energy costs for American families and spurring investment in advanced manufacturing. No comments here that the Inflation Reduction Act was one of the acts that actually unleashed trillions of dollars into the economy and sent inflation skyrocketing. And they're not talking about your district. They're talking about clean energy, not the capacity that America has right under your nose. Your reaction?
I said long ago, put Midland over Moscow, produce domestic energy. The most important thing we can do is have affordable, reliable energy, which comes from under the ground. And let's get back to that policy. The fact is, Maria, that every American is hurting because prices are higher at the grocery store, at the gas station, and that is because of their failed policies. We need reliable energy, not this fairy tale that they're dreaming up because it doesn't work.
All right, we'll leave it there, Congressman. It's good to see you this morning, sir. Thank you.